All right, welcome back to Dome Keeper Overanalyzed. I did another video like this about 9 months ago. It was pretty popular. I'm still getting comments on that one, but a lot has changed in that time, so I thought I'd do another one. I'm going to quickly go through the menus, talk about some things. I have some clips and some opinions I've got from other top players on these leaderboards. Like I have talked to some of the top players in each of these modes. And then I am going to play a run of Countdown Prestige and just talk through all of my thought processes and everything as I do it. So this is mainly geared at people who want to get into playing Prestige mode in Dome Keeper, but most of it should still apply if you are trying to beat the Relic Hunt modes as well. Think that covers that. If you like the video, please subscribe on YouTube. I'm very close to being able to make money off of these videos. Just need a few more subscribers. Okay. First new thing, this modding menu. There are officially supported mods now. I'm not going to be using any of them in this video, but I wanted to mention a couple that are legal for leaderboard play, prestige play. This one just lets you restart the game quickly. And this one tracks some stats, lets you compare against your previous stats. I know the screen went black. I will fix that. That sort of thing. So won't be using any of those in this video. Probably won't go into that too much detail. Wanted to talk through these options. And if you want, you can skip ahead a little bit. Most of the video will be gameplay. You've got two new domes. They were added like this week, the Artillery Dome and the Tesla Dome. The laser and the sword remain competitive. It's a little hard to say how good the Artillery Dome and the Tesla Dome are at very late stages, like really late waves in the endless mode. But they both seem pretty promising. Neither of them seem super overpowered or super weak. I'm going to be playing the Artillery Dome in this video. If you want to see some of these other ones, I will tell you kind of where you should look. So for the Tesla Dome, there is a special strategy to play this that I have from Zimni. Strat regarding Tesla. Basically, what you do is you create a big electro orb around your dome. You go in before the battle starts and start shooting electro orbs at your dome over and over. It makes this big force field that can stop a bunch of the different types of enemies. That's what I would recommend. And if you want some gameplay, you can look up Zimni11 on YouTube or Twitch and find some runs to watch. I think that is it on that topic. Keeper, engineer versus assessor. I'm going to be playing the engineer today, but the assessor at high levels of play, if you're really good at it, has proven to be very good, likely stronger than the engineer. Some of the world records from the previous season were set on assessor. And it's kind of still unexplored in terms of technique because very few people play as the assessor. So what I've done is I've talked a little bit to one of the top players, Mr. Man, got some info. He's basically just saying he uses a reflection strategy. I'll show in a second. But that one of the other top players, Slip, is using the split orb, and it's still possible that the other upgrade path is good too. So it's a little bit up for debate, but so far everything except reflection has been proven to work pretty well. I don't have super specific clips here, by the way. Go ahead and subscribe to Mr. Man if you want to see some great assessor gameplay. I just thought I would show this to kind of show you what his mind looks like as he plays this. You can see here as he goes back up kind of the crisscrossy patterns that he's made throughout the dome. And in fact, if you watch Slip, who uses the explosive spheres, it looks very similar. So again, go and subscribe to Slippery Dome on YouTube if you want to see some of the best gameplay on Assessor or Engineer. This is from a former world record video. You can see him setting up the explosive orbs and then going and doing something else. And he does end up with a pretty crisscrossy mine pattern like Mr. Man had. So that's what I wanted to show you on that. You can watch their runs if you want more info on the Assessor. Now, engineer mining pattern. Let's get a little too deep for a second, because I think this is pretty interesting. We've got this tweet here from the official Domekeeper account. It says, would you believe that this is the best digging strategy in Domekeeper? It's how one of the best players digs through the mine, etc. And it's kind of this, what I would call psycho mining pattern, but there is some logic to it. It's based on knowledge of how far apart resources are typically generated. You can see some examples here. You can learn some patterns. In the tweet, they say that strip mining is only optimal in one thing, not missing any resources, but that's not quite true. What's good about strip mining, just mining horizontally, which you'll see me do later in this video, is that it makes it easier to drag resources back to the center without them getting hooked on little crevices, and also it means you don't have to be lifting everything. You can use resources to drag other resources. So this strategy of digging all around the place is better if you're trying to get to materials more quickly, but not necessarily better for bringing them up as quickly. And, they've talked a little bit more about the sort of patterns that form, which you just kind of have to get a sense for. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about there. I will be mostly using a horizontal strip mining pattern 4 tiles apart. Pet and suit are just cosmetics. I'll use the cat and the skeleton. By the way, if you want the Halloween ones, if you're watching this in October, you should be able to unlock them just by playing some Relic Hunt. And if you're watching this in another month, if you tell your computer that it's October, you can fool it into being unlockable. Anyway. Gadgets. All 3 of these gadgets are pretty competitive right now. Orchard just got buffed, so it's really early to say whether it's good or Zimni, who was playing it, is just good. But you have some options with all of these, and it's going to be a little bit dependent on what you feel comfortable with, as well as what weapon you're using. Relic Hunt mostly will function the same as Prestige. The larger the map, the more it is like Endless Mode. Smaller the map, the more it is like Countdown, which takes around an hour. There's a friendly mode now if you want to play on lower difficulty. I'm still on Tesla. Thank you. Let me change that, because I said I would play artillery. No. And now here you see, as one of the best Prestige players, you can remove some of the randomness. If you want that, what you need to do is score 1,000 points in Prestige mode to unlock Pro mode. If you haven't unlocked it yet, you can still use all the information that I will give in this video, except for the little section I am going to do right now about what order you should set these to. It just lets you set the caves, gadgets, and supplements in the order that you want, and That way you just don't have to reset a bunch of runs all the time. If you are playing endless mode, you want to have the seed pretty high up, probably second place, so that you can start growing trees with resources. I'll be playing countdown today, so it's not very important to me. I won't go through what all of these does, but just briefly the most important ones that you want at the top. This cave that I have first is just like an X-ray cave. It lets you see one layer deeper into the rocks. So having that early is extremely beneficial. Second, I have the eye. It's like a one-way teleporter. And again, it can just save me a lot of time. The other ones, you can kind of mess around with these orders, but typically having the just 2 cobalt for free early is nice. For gadgets, this is probably a pretty big change since my video 9 months ago. You can see my order here. Only the first 6 matter because you can't have more than that. In most modes, 5 is the maximum. In Endless Prestige mode, you will be offered 7, but you can only equip up to 6. And they have to be specific ones. Some of them interfere with each other. So the resource converter and condenser I have first just helps you generate a ton of free resources, which I love. The lift, it's in its own spot, so taking it doesn't preclude you from taking anything else, and it just makes it faster to bring things up to the top. You use it mostly for the keeper speed boost and not so much for its actual ability to carry things. Drink your water. It's good for you. I haven't been using that so much in Countdown lately. I've just been taking the autocannon. Autocannon is great. It's extremely high damage. It can help you deal with large enemies or just things that are sneaking by your weapon. Spire takes out enemy projectiles and is extremely valuable if you're playing a long game in Fixed Cobalt or Endless mode or maybe huge map relic hunt. Instead of autocannon, you can take the stun laser. It's also really powerful, and it's going to be kind of up to you which one you prefer, because I don't think it's super proven at the moment which one's better. And then also optionally, you can take this prospecting meter. This will let you get a little bar that gives you a sense of how close you are to materials, which allows you to dig further apart and still make sure you find everything. This completely has outclassed the probe, which we used to like, because it's just a better probe that doesn't take up a spot in your base, so you can still get the converter plus the condenser. The converter you will use entirely just to make iron into iron for a long time. If you're playing a long run, like an endless run, at some point you want to start creating cobalt with it. And then finally, supplements are a new thing that were just added. They replace the dome hardening and repair kind of upgrades. You want to use the dome resurrection. If you're not playing in pro mode and you don't have a choice, then you're probably fine to just take any of these that shows up for you, because you'll only be offered 1 per game. But if you have pro mode, use resurrection. It's phenomenal. They might nerf it shortly after me saying that. We'll see. I will start my run now. Let's go. Hopefully not have to reset too much. I will be resetting if I get less than 4 iron at the start. Like there. And this is where it would be nice to have the mod that lets you quick restart, but it's not a big deal. Figured I should play modless for this run. So everything looks normal and all that. Also, I haven't actually used it yet. Haven't tried it. Anyway. So, something I mentioned in the last video, the timer doesn't actually start until you either bring up resources or mine out the 7th block. So you can do a little bit of extra mining before you make your first trip up. And it also means that if you get 5 iron at the start, you can just slowly bring it all up to the top. Oh wow, a 2. This is the Dome Keeper experience that we're all here for. We know and love. I'll try to put up a decent score in this video, but we'll see about that. Alright, 4, good enough. Go ahead and bring these up to the top. You can see I mined out 6 tiles. And then I take the drill upgrade first. I think that's extremely important. And you'll see I go 4 tiles down, or rather I leave 4 tiles in between. And I'm going to go 4 tiles apart, just mining horizontally as I go. For the most part, you want to ignore early cobalt and water and just focus on bringing up iron. But if you're playing countdown mode like I am, it does really make a difference if you can send some early. So I might try to grab some here. I go for the carrying upgrade second. You can see I was kind of dropping and picking back up the resources as I brought them up there. I guess that can save you a little bit of time, but honestly, it's probably not worth it unless you just feel like it. Like, chances are you'll just drop something and not pick it back up in time, and it'll be a waste. Wave should be coming up pretty soon. So it'll probably be easier to see once I'm carrying more resources, but if you're carrying things and you go into the menu in base, it'll bring up all the stuff for you. You don't have to like sit there and wait for it, which would use up your actual time. If you're in menu, it's not going to take away from your timer, but the resources are still going to come up to the top. Not gonna lie, I thought that was the middle. Pays to pay a little more attention than I did, but get the speed upgrade now. See if I can't get a little more iron up before this wave starts. And I don't mind being a little late to this wave. If I take some damage here, it's better to take the damage now when it's like one enemy that's not going to do that much damage. Is there still a center line upgrade? I think the line that shows you where the center is for assessor. So I'm going to go with the carry strength upgrade second here, and this is the second carry strength upgrade rather. This is about when I would buy the timer for the waves, but if you have a good sense of when they will be, you can put it off as long as you want, really. One upgrade you want to make sure not to buy here is going to be the one that tells you how much of each resource you have. Here I'm pausing because I don't want to wait for the music to play before I can pick this up. I believe the patch notes said that that was fixed, so you don't have to wait anymore, but it does not seem to be true in my experience. Try to use the resources to drag the gadget up to the top rather than grabbing the gadget yourself. You can save yourself a lot of time. And then again, I'm just going to go ahead and say if I'm a little late to this wave, it's fine. Grab these resources that I have sitting out. Might as well clear a little bit more here with my extra time. Go ahead and send away these things. Although when you have the resource converter, you might want to save your water for the 4 water upgrade. But I'll just do that with the next water I get. Go ahead and use the converter to turn iron into more iron. I'm going to grab this before it rolls away, and as I get down into this next layer, I will want to buy a drill upgrade as soon as possible. At least I have water. And you'll notice I'm putting off upgrading my weapon, and I will continue to put that off for quite a while. Just investing in myself early will end up paying off, and it's not like I'm taking that much damage right now anyway. Might have sent a little bit too much iron. What I'm going to go ahead and do here is buy this iron duplication upgrade. Then go ahead and worry about collecting after the fight. So the way this weapon works, if you haven't seen it yet, I have bombs, big bombs I can shoot, as well as an anti-air gun. And it's a pretty new weapon, so I'm still kind of trying to figure out the optimal strategies with it, but you can see what I do. Drill upgrade here should let me find that X-ray upgrade pretty quickly. I know it's going to be in this first brown layer. I have set up 2 brown layers in a row, so it's not going to be easy to tell when it goes from one to the next one, unfortunately. It'll just, like, the material will get harder, but it'll look the same. Cobalt is more likely to be found around the edge of the map, by the way. Being late is fashionable, I would say. Simply don't worry about it. It can pay to learn how many shots each type of enemy needs to kill it. Like, I know that those are gonna take 2 hits early on. Obviously it'll change once I upgrade the weapon. Yeah, and cobalt and water do tend to be next to each other. This feels like I haven't found a lot of iron yet. I would have expected to find more. But I will play it out. Just see how the run goes. Honestly, not a great start though. Decent chance I've missed quite a bit of iron in between the rows, which would reveal itself to me once I find the X-ray layer, but it'll be... It's a little up in the air, like I don't know where in the layer the X-ray cave will be. It can be pretty much anywhere within that layer. But you definitely want to send all of your cobalt as soon as you get it if you're playing in countdown mode like I am. If you're playing fixed cobalt, you either want to send all of your cobalt immediately or save one. And in endless, good luck. In endless, you probably want to send all of them for a long time and then start saving once you get into the late waves. But endless runs take like 4 or 5 hours once you get good enough to survive that long. So I wouldn't recommend it unless you're into that sort of thing. That is pretty interesting that those would spawn that close together. So this is the dome supplement that I mentioned before. It's the thing that's going to give me resurrection. And I don't have time to bring up these resources right now, so I'll come back for it. My converter is ready. Make sure to get it after this wave. I'm pretty slow upgrading my keeper here, so I'm definitely going to need to throw this iron right back into carrying and speed upgrades and drill, I suppose. Before worrying about the weapon. And the nice thing about this resurrection that I picked, you can just use it as free extra HP. Right? You don't have to heal. It resurrects you at full HP. You can be weaker for longer, not upgrade your weapon, because it's just a bunch of free extra HP. Go ahead and pause for this. We'll get to see me do my best at dragging all this stuff up together. And you can see I did take the next carrying upgrade. Okay, these are going to have to come up later. That's fine. I did take the next carrying upgrade before the cheaper speed upgrade because I had the iron for it. If you don't, you can just get the... Like, if you have enough iron for the 8 cost speed upgrade but not the 12 cost carry, you can do it in that order. Shouldn't matter too much either way. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. I can buy an HP bar at whatever point. but you can kind of just look at the dome and see how cracked it is, honestly. So I'm just going to save that iron to get a drill upgrade early next wave. And it's important to know that with this worm enemy thing that pops out of the ground, you can shoot the projectiles out of the air. You can shoot them or hit them with any weapon and break them. So it's going to be worth bringing this stuff up now because I was 4 gold off. Meant to grab that there. Accidentally pushed it down. I make mistakes. Lots of them, actually. We'll go ahead and take the condenser here and get the first production speed upgrade for it. You can get the second one at some point as well if you'd like. I shouldn't have done that because I spent enough iron that I can't upgrade my drill. That was silly of me. But, you know, do as I say and not as I do or whatever. If only I had brought up this one. Get it at the end of the wave. So there is the X-ray cave I was looking for. It takes 2 iron to activate, which fortunately I will have here. And now I'll be able to see all the stuff I left behind on my first pass. Go ahead and take the resurrection. It has a second upgrade to give you another resurrection, which will be useful if you're playing long runs. For countdown mode, it's pretty expensive. When you have one of these worm enemies on each side, sometimes you just have to decide to accept getting hit by one of them. There I could have maybe prevented it a little better, but it's fine, and I will go ahead and buy that HP bar now. And plan to upgrade my weapon soon, TM. And I would imagine there's a decent amount of stuff I left along the way because it didn't seem like I was finding a lot of early resources. Hello, hello. Alright, I'll chill for now. Dig up a little more of this stuff that got left behind. And this is too much for me to carry, so I can just kind of drop it while moving in that direction to throw it. And then use the materials I am carrying to drag the others along and to accidentally launch one water into outer space. But hey, I'm trying to be educational, not good. So if you're more concerned with preserving your HP than I am, because I have resurrection, You can go ahead and buy these shield upgrades as well. Just thought I'd mention them. But I am very bold in Countdown when I have Resurrection. I would rather use the Resurrection early than just never use it, because it allows me to be more risky. You can see the Resurrection just popped there. I'm at full HP. It seems like a waste. Like, it seems like I'm using it too early. And maybe I am a little bit. But... okay, now I'm just missing. Hold on. Now I'm just missing. It allows me to play riskier. Oh my god, I need to watch a Dome Keeper educational video. That's... would probably make me not in this situation. I'm gonna use the excuse that this weapon is brand new, but goes without saying that you should try to not take this much damage. But I promise I know what I'm talking about. Should have played lasers so you can tell that I'm actually good at this game. Anyway, go ahead and keep upgrading the Keeper recklessly, and then I'll go for weapon upgrades next. It's gotta be like the worst run I've played in months that I have on video, but I'm not gonna film this again. If you don't appreciate me at my worst, etc. Okay, so I picked up the eye. It's a one-way teleporter. I can place it by pressing the R key, return to it by pressing the R key. It has a cooldown period in between. If you're on a controller, I don't know what the keys are, but probably not R. And since I upgraded my carrying, I can go ahead and carry up a whole bunch at once, which is going to let me pretty easily start upgrading my dome and be at less risk of dying. So you got 2 main upgrade paths here, and then later 2 upgrade paths for the anti-air gun. If you are playing a long run where you're hoping to make it 70 waves in endless or something, it's probably better to take the direct hit upgrade. Since I'm playing countdown mode, which tends to be about a 1 hour run, I am going to go with the volatile explosive upgrade. I like that it gives me a larger radius, and I think that this second upgrade, Fire 2 in quick succession, is going to be way better for me than the early upgrades for the other path. So I'm going to go volatile here. I'm going to send some water while I'm thinking about it. Improved anti-air gun. Let's go ahead and purchase the invulnerability upgrade for the shield. And I'm going to send some iron. Why not? So now that I bought a bunch of upgrades, I should hopefully not take 1,000 damage this fight. But we will see about that. Just going to use the invulnerability. Looks to be an easier wave here. I need another shot on that one. Like I said, it's good to learn how many shots you need. Or hits if you're using the sword. Suppose there's not really a laser equivalent. Don't forget you have the eye placed. And you can probably dig a bit further apart if you'd like. I'm in the habit of digging this far apart just to make sure I don't miss any resources, but honestly, it might be a bit better to go a little further apart, or to just embrace the psycho mining and just try to go straight for the resources if you can. Probably gonna want a drill upgrade soon. Go ahead and carry all that stuff up. I think they recently buffed the strength of the drill. I'm gonna leave my eye here. Not a huge amount, but enough that you might not need to buy quite as many drill upgrades. Okay. Here I am. So, I would definitely go for this second production speed upgrade and eventually the auto overcharge upgrade if you're playing a longer run. On countdown mode, I don't know if it's going to pay off fast enough for me to care. And certainly right now, I'd rather just upgrade this drill. The faster I can mine, the faster I can start doing everything else. And eventually it's going to result in my dome being stronger as well. Obviously in the short term we don't see that. Take a little damage here, but it's okay. Go back. You only need one little sliver of HP left. The rest of it you can feel free to spend however you want. Including long, poorly played fights with one worm on each side. I mean, it's a classic. I'm gonna dig down the sides a little bit here to see if there is any readily available cobalt over here. There may or may not be. There's some. Like I said earlier, it's more often closer to the sides, but it's a little tough to predict. So now I'm gonna go in a few tiles and back up this way. And then I'll probably go back to my regularly scheduled mining on the following wave. But it's gonna be nice to try to pick up some cobalt, and especially in miner mode, the mode where there's no combat, you're really gonna need to get good at looking for that cobalt on the edge of the map. So it's probably time to send some more and maybe also get a little stronger. The wide rotation actually ends up being more impactful than you might think on this dome, since you can't really aim down at things unless you have it. I am going to go ahead and send here. Got the lightning bag enemy here. Go ahead and pop my invulnerability and try not to take too many hits here. That's not going to kill that. You can leave your fights early if you have a bomb in the air that you're certain is going to kill the enemy. Save yourself 1 second and look really foolish if it doesn't actually do the job. But hey, that's what Dome Keeper's all about. If I didn't want to look like a fool, I would have started this video over after that one really bad combat, but like, it happens. My eye is not ready to place yet, so I'm gonna be looking. It's that little circular thing in the bottom left, and just try to place it as soon as it's ready. Not sure it's gonna save me a lot of time right now, but might as well try to use it. Gonna grab a shield upgrade. So when you buy the shield strength upgrades, it takes some time after you buy it for it to charge back. You don't immediately get the extra shield, so try to not use it like the moment that you are starting a combat. But you know, you do your best. Go ahead and take a speed upgrade and probably the double shells as well. Guess I could have done a little digging first before upgrading combat again. But it's okay. I am digging 5 apart now. It wasn't a conscious decision. I just kind of started doing that, but like, shouldn't matter much. So that eye placement didn't end up being very valuable. Might have been better to not place it so I could just go back down and then place it at the end of the wave. It's a very annoying enemy. Watch this be the one countdown run where I managed to die. So I get asked, or I have been asked in the past, how you unlock the different prestige modes. And generally the answer is to play a prestige mode run in whatever mode you have unlocked. I think Countdown is the default now. And leave the planet rather than dying. You might need to win one run of Relic Hunt before you can play Prestige for the first time. It's probably the case. Dang. If I had grabbed that cobalt here, I think that would be enough to send. So it can be valuable to keep track of that. You can use the inventory management upgrade, but this is really important, okay? I don't know why I'm saying it like that, like I'm your dad. This upgrade will enable automatic repairs. You would rather use the Dome Resurrection up before the automatic repairs start happening, at least if you're playing in Countdown. So it's good to not buy this upgrade until after you've used up the resurrection. Because the kobolds to me are much more valuable as sent resources than as healing. It's going to be a little different in the other game modes, of course, but I would not buy this until after the resurrection. Now it's after the resurrection. I'm probably going to go ahead and buy it. Already used it. And then I'm going to go ahead and send some iron. I don't have a good advice for exactly when you should be sending. Take this upgrade. But like for most people, I think you can improve most by getting better at collecting resources and learning how to upgrade your keeper. And the combat can come later. Because if you're not bringing up resources effectively or quickly, then you can't upgrade your weapon that much. You won't have enough to do it. So better to focus on economy, essentially. And then once you are making it deep into runs, at some point, if you're playing Fixed Cobalt or Endless, the really long modes, you will need to get good at combat. But I wouldn't say I'm good with this weapon. And I'm probably going to do fine. I can probably just make this 2 trips and get everything. I think I have time for that. So right now you can see my example of carrying the gadget without actually grabbing it. Just using a blanket of resources to bring it up. And then once we're at the top, I can grab it. I do like the auto cannon as my 3rd upgrade in Countdown right now. But you can go with the prospecting meter, you can go with the lift. Okay, so health upgrade's fine. It'll make me not worry about my health for a little while, and then I can just send more iron. I'm all about it. I don't think I actually have time to make this 2 trips right now, so I will wait. And I like the activate on depletion upgrade if you're going the invulnerability shield route. But you can use the other main gadgets, and there's probably even some variability in which attributes you want to use for them. Okay, the big spooky enemy has appeared. And you can see that because I didn't buy the angle upgrade here, my weapon, my anti-air gun, cannot actually shoot it. And I haven't upgraded my damage enough to quickly kill it. So it's going to be a little painful, but there the invulnerability actually made it not painful. Thank you, invulnerability. Once things start taking 2 or more hits again, I can start thinking about upgrading my drill. I mean, you can do it in advance of that if you have the iron. You really don't want to be spending more than 2 hits on stuff, at least for quite a while. try to do my technique of throwing some of this stuff. I don't know how much time that really saved me, but sometimes it saves a lot of time. If you can do it well and not have to do it 3 times like I just did. And then it looks like I have enough time to make like 1 slow trip. So I'll grab more resources than maybe I normally would. Just kind of get used to how long the timer takes. That being said, I'm late to waves all the time. I think everybody does it. So now I need to like actually upgrade my weapon, I think. Wide rotation will let me shoot those ground enemies, at least some of them, with my anti-air gun. With my t-shirt cannon. So I will go ahead and take that, I think. Let me see how much resources I have before I commit to it. 26. Alright, so I'm going to take wide rotation and just a general damage up. Come on, okay. And you can see now I can shoot it. Oop. Not sure what I just hit, but let's not worry about it. I think I hit my escape key, which is actually where my Windows key would be if I used the keyboard like a sane person. Look, I've switched my Windows key and my escape key. I don't know what to tell you. My Windows key is where my escape key should be and vice versa. That's not like a dome keeper thing. It's just my toxic trait. Anyway, I want to get a drill upgrade. Somebody in chat, I'm doing this live on my stream, by the way. Hello, stream. What a bizarre and inexplicable choice. Well, I can explain it for you. I used to accidentally hit my Windows key all the time when I played Overwatch. I should have placed my portal down there. I didn't use my eye. That's a mistake. So I swapped it so that I wouldn't be constantly hitting my Windows key. And instead be constantly hitting my escape key, I guess. I don't really know what the Windows key is for. Has this just become Walnenko doesn't understand computers? A little bit. This looks like enough. I didn't count it. Maybe I should have. It is not enough. Well, you know. You win some, you lose some, or something. This type of enemy is very annoying too. They are called the Beast. These flying things are high damage, low health. We'll go ahead and take them out. I call those the David Blaines because they do magic. I don't even know enough about David Blaine to know if the comparison makes any sense at all. It's not really important. It's just important to know that those are the Blaines. Could have probably used some of the iron there because, like, realistically, if I find more iron, it's not going to be just 2. So even though I just need 2 for my drill upgrade, could have spent a bit more. And now I pretty much do this for a while. I guess this is already what I was doing. See, that was a good throw. I lost 1 iron. I don't think it's a big deal. I know there's 1 iron to the right over there as well. Maybe I had time to get it. This is going to be a relatively low scoring run compared to what I would normally get, but I feel like I've said enough useful things, even if you're not watching the world record right now. Fast rotation will help me deal with those diving enemies, as will fast fire. I like the fast fire path better than homing rockets here. So I'll go ahead and take those at this point. The stupid lightning enemy was in the way of me shooting the diver. Should have anticipated it and used my shield, I guess, but it used up my automatic shield, which is fine too. We will pop the manual shield to tank some of those. I don't know, what do you call those things? Popcorn? Some of the popcorns. At the time of recording it, I'm somewhere around 5th place this season in countdown mode, but it shows me as like 44th or something. There's a decent number of cheated scores that you can tell are cheated if you look at the metadata, I guess, if that's the right way to use the word metadata. But those will usually get cleared out every couple months or something. Don't cheat at Dome Keeper. It doesn't help you in any way. There's already only like 5 of us who care about Dome Keeper scores, so no reason to cheat. I don't have much time, so I'm just gonna mine kind of aimlessly there and then bring this up. Just doing that little wiggle back and forth because I wanted to. Don't want to fool anyone into thinking that's beneficial in some way. Go ahead and send some iron. I have the extra resources here. I'd probably like to save some water to send again, though. So I maybe don't buy these upgrades right now. Yeah. I think I'll save my resources and plan on sending them. Because at the moment I'm not really at risk of dying. You know, you might as well be as risky as you can get away with. Popped that invulnerability a little bit too early, but I think it's fine. And so if you haven't already by this point in the run, it might be worth going to the edges of the map and just edge mining, trying to find cobalt. Especially if you are close to being able to send some, or if you really need it to heal or something. I would like to send cobalt at least one more time, but I'm not particularly close at the moment to having enough. I will still look though. And try not to forget to go back up and actually fight the wave at some point. No promises that I will do that. And so this is one of the downsides of psycho mining. You kind of end up with confusing paths. If you can keep track of it, then it's not such a bad thing. Should send some water here, and then I might buy some upgrades that use water. I really like the shotgun path for the autocannon. That's much better than the other one. Could get another shield upgrade as well. I don't have a good reason for not getting it. I just haven't needed it. I guess that's my good reason. If I'm alive, then I haven't needed it. This is a very scary looking wave. I can likely just fire straight up and hit both of those at the same time. I can. Good technology. I might heal here. Yeah. So I have the auto heal upgrade, so I didn't need to go in the menu and heal, but it does use up one of my cobalts, unfortunately. That's your what you risk being as cocky about not being in danger of dying. What am I saying? You get what I mean. If you play as risky as me, in terms of not upgrading your weapon and your shield that much. Sometimes it won't work out that well. And honestly, I probably should have played more risky. Gotta get those scores up, you know? So the gadgets used to be pretty predictable locations, but as of just recently, they are much more unpredictable, much less predictable, I suppose. Other than just they pretty much alternate sides each layer. There will be one per layer, 5 total or 7 in endless mode, and they will alternate sides, but you can't really predict with great accuracy exactly where they'll be like you used to. Maybe we will figure out a pattern to it that we haven't noticed yet, but it seems to be a bit different. Forgot to put the portal lower, but I'll just put it there. It's fine. Would really love to send Cobalt one more time. So probably go and dig down the other edge of the map. But I should try to keep myself alive for now and not use up the Cobalt as healing. So I either want to purchase this health upgrade or one of these weapon upgrades right now. And I think I will go health and shield. And like I mentioned earlier, I won't actually get that full shield charge right away. Okay. It's a type of enemy we haven't seen yet, the stag. Shoots some spooky projectiles and then eventually starts shooting the ground with stomping, and it makes projectiles basically that are pretty high damage. I took a bunch of hits there, but I'll try to upgrade my weapon next. Maybe upgrade the autocannon as well at this point. I think it would be wise. This kind of sawtooth pattern I'm doing now, digging across and then poking up every few blocks, is also relatively effective. Ah! My up key stopped working. I think we're good again. That was weird. Relatively effective mining pattern. Yeah, the game doesn't want me to reveal the sawtooth mining pattern exactly. It's time to be a little bit more concerned with getting to the waves on time, as I am no longer easily staying alive. I mean, I have a bunch of cobalt, but I'd rather not use it to heal. Don't forget you can shred these for more cobalt. And that should give me enough to send here. And if I'm sending, that means I don't have backup healing and should definitely upgrade my weapon a bit more. But honestly, you gotta take risks. So, any of these upgrades I think is good. I'm going to take the double barrel upgrade first. And then go ahead and upgrade the shotgun a little as well. And you can see I can chew through these aerial enemies pretty quickly now. Can't really do much about that. If you can't rotate over to the enemy fast enough, then it just kind of gets you. So try not to be too far rotated from the center, I guess. But sometimes I think those divers are just going to get you on this dome, which maybe means that it's not super effective in late waves, where you're going to have to deal with a bunch of them and not be able to just invulnerability through it every time. You can try out other gadgets. Maybe you do better not using the shield, using one of the other ones. Okay, so at this point, I think I start to wonder, am I actually going to send Cobalt again? I would need to find 9 more and then 2 more on top of that to eventually leave. There's 1 more gadget on the map that can be shredded for 2 Cobalt. Maybe I'll be able to send again, but I'm not sure it's worth hunting down extra Cobalt at this point. Bring up what I can here. There's iron on the left side. I'm being told there's iron on the left side that I left. Honestly, talking about the game and trying to be serious for once, I'm less focused than I normally would be in these runs. Is that just an excuse? Yes, obviously. But still, though, you probably don't need to fully upgrade the weapon in countdown mode. I think I will just upgrade my shotgun the rest of the way, though. Better make sure I at least don't die in the video. Okay, well, I didn't kill that in time, but at least my invulnerability was up. Do I have stuff over here? If so, where? So at some point, just if you are playing a run where you're not going to be mining out the whole map, you can prioritize eventually just digging through the easiest materials to dig through and not trying to be exhaustive. If you're playing Endless Mode or Fixed Cobalt, your goal should be to mine out the entire map. You don't have to mine literally every tile, but like you will find all of the resources. At least that's something to work up to anyway. I don't have that much time. I guess I might as well bring some of this back up. Okay, I really didn't leave myself that much time. Mr. Man is saying in chat, if you play almost perfectly, you can mine out a countdown map. Yeah, that's probably true. It's gonna be really tough. I can upgrade my weapon here. I'm not sure that was worth it. Oh, I tried to immune through it, but then the shotgun got it. How dare you be good, shotgun? Well, anyway, I'm gonna shield through this round anyway. No problems. Yeah, mining out a full countdown map, likely something that's much more doable on assessor than engineer. But dream big. I think with the recent addition of resurrection to the game, you can be a lot more aggressive in your approach, meaning upgrading your keeper for longer, avoiding upgrading your dome for longer, your weapon. Let me see if there's anything down here that I exposed. Nah. I'm gonna plan to come back over here and keep digging, but for now it's a little bit of a maze, so I should probably head back. Didn't start that before because I didn't have any iron left. And now at this point, I might as well send iron. I need to be able to get to 30 and 2 to leave the planet at some point. Okay, I don't have enough to send iron at the moment, actually. But I've got time to get that. Okay, there was no reason I needed to shoot that high in the air. Didn't end up being too bad of a run score-wise. If I can get a little more cobalt, I can prolong it by one more wave. Which won't add a whole lot of points at this point, but it's content. I try to like hook the gadget on the corner as I'm dragging it, because then I can kind of get some extra velocity on it when I let go. Hook's law or something. Is this worth going over here to get this mushroom? Probably not, but it looked tasty. Do I have one more water in here? I don't think so. It's too bad. It's not a big point difference at this point, since my cobalt multiplier counts down, hence the name countdown. I will mention as an aside, the mode known as endless is not an endless map. It's just a very large map. But it'll take you a very long time to mine it out. It is larger than the huge map, and it's larger than the other prestige mode maps. Yeah, the further you get into Countdown, the less points you're getting at some point. And the more difficult the waves are. So if you have to leave a couple waves early, it's honestly fine. If I left now instead of after this fight, I would lose 42 points out of a 6,000-ish points run. So, It's not really a big deal. I do think that this is enough cobalt to send, so I can make the thing one wave longer and just tell myself that I'm going to find more cobalt to leave the planet with after that. I think I'll probably do it. Why not? If I die, it's funny. If I live, then it's slightly more points. Yeah, I could eventually convert iron to cobalt if I need to. Not likely to happen. Alright, it's the Scarab. This thing is real spooky. It'll go into its little shield. Reasonably high chance I die. Okay, I've died. So, you know, if you're on a high score pace, maybe save that cobalt I sent at the end there. If you don't know, your score does double when you leave, so this was about a 6,000 point pace. My personal best this season, which has been like a week, is a 62.52, so I wasn't really on any sort of record pace, but yeah, it wouldn't be the Domekeeper Overanalyzed series if I didn't die an hour into the run. You can see my high score last season was like an 8,000. Before that, this mode worked differently. And the best players last season were getting like 13,000 with these top few numbers being fake. So if you're looking for a sort of benchmark for a good countdown mode score, 6,000 is what I'm getting on an average run at this point. 8,000 I think is quite good, and up to 13, 14,000 is very good. That's a pretty big range.